Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Journey into Comics, a podcast about comic books, video games, movies, television, and everything nerd. With your hosts, Nate Phillips, Brandon Stone, and Shuddy Boy.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is another episode of Journey into Comics. And today, it's me, Nate, and we've got Shuddy. How's it going, man?
Good, how are you, bro?
I'm pretty excellent. I feel like we're forgetting somebody today.
Oh?
Yeah, man. Oh, holy shit. For the first time in, what has it been? 6 weeks, 7 weeks, a year? I don't fucking know. Brando, welcome back, motherfucker.
What's up, man? How's it going?
It's going pretty good, dude. What have you been up to?
Being a dad, doing that kind of thing right now.
Man, you guys are putting a lot of pressure on me. You both have kids, and I'm just over here like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I tell you what, it's awesome. It's a feeling that you just can't describe, I guess. I mean, especially since we have been trying for so long to be able to even have a kid, for it to finally happen and come to fruition, and through all the trials and tribulations since he's been here, it's been awesome, nerve-wracking, exhausting, all those things rolled into one.
Totally. Have you taken any advice that Shuddy gave you?
You mean to was it overpack? Was that one of them?
Yeah, that was one of them.
Oh, trust me. I think I did just yesterday.
Hell yeah.
We were getting ready to leave to go into town, and I asked if she had grabbed something, and she goes, "Oh no, we'll be fine." And I'm like, suddenly Shuddy's words just came all the way back to me. I'm like, "No, I gotta grab the bag."
He's like, no poo explosion here.
No poo explosion.
If you didn't have it, you would have needed it.
Exactly. And see, what we were doing is that, we went to a store, and we were also looking at like getting a new car. So it would have happened at the dealership more than likely.
Ew.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh man, but it's been fun.
You're like, I want to shake your hand, car dealer guy, but I've got shit all over it.
Yeah, hold on, yeah.
Let me go
wash
clean
my
that
hands.
up.
Yeah. I know there's been a lot of cool stories, though. I mean, a couple of the times I've actually I posted them on Facebook. Some of you guys, some of our listeners who are friends with me on Facebook might have saw it just yesterday. I posted one, and what I've been doing is that sometimes when I get bored, don't know what to listen to, I will just go to one of my favorite bands, start from the beginning of their catalog, and work all the way through. It's almost like I'm doing it like review style in my own head, or just to, recapture kind of like the progression of that band. And I've done it with a few others, but I had yet to do it with Metallica, so I've been doing that for a couple weeks. And of course, since he's been here, that's almost all he's listened to in the car when he's with me. So yesterday he started fussing, and so I said something to the tones of, "Oh, come on, it's okay. Feel the soothing tones of Kirk Hammett."
Fuck yeah.
So, I mean, it's awesome, though. He's a great kid. He's not too fussy. So, I mean, couldn't ask for better.
Fuck yeah. Man, you guys are parents and doing all that. Shuddy, you've been real busy at work, I think, is what you were telling me?
Yeah, I've been working like 60 hours a week.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Plus you do 2 podcasts, man. You're fucking nuts. And you drink and party? God damn.
Yeah, well, it kicked the shit out of me last night.
Yeah, how's that hangover feeling?
Better now, but it was at the stage during the day that after I woke up, I just felt that kept getting worse and worse.
Yeah. Man, it's interesting here, not that the listeners know this, but you guys know this. Sarah and myself have started a project. We're actually going to do the entire Misfits Famous Monsters album, front to back, so Kong to Kong, as we say. Sarah's going to be playing piano instead of there being guitar. Our friend Rob is going to do the bass. I'm actually on drums. Yes, I drum. And then our friend Veronica is going to be singing vocals. Brando knows Veronica. And interestingly enough, we're having a huge problem. We can't name this fucking thing. Like, we've thought of everything involving the Misfits possible. We've come up with all kinds of crazy names. Even today, I kept screaming, "Bring in the Gimp," just because it sounded fun. Like, I was thinking Pulp Fiction for some reason. And we cannot name this thing. And it's hard, man. It's hard to name something. So Brando has a project that we may or may not end up talking about in the near future that is not named yet, and he's got some ideas thrown around. So you know what I'm talking about when it's hard to give something a name, you know?
Well, I have a suggestion for yours.
Okay.
It's not good, but it just came to me.
Okay.
Fizmits.
Fizmits. I said that one.
Oh, damn it. Of course you did.
Stiff Sim. That's the Misfits backwards. Stiff Sim.
My shoe know.
Yes. From The Sims. Fucking what were some other ones we've come up with? Fiend Without a Face, or Fiends Without a Face, because there's some other band, Fiend Without a Face, that already exists. Yeah, it's fucking crazy trying to name this shit. We had our first practice today. That's actually why we pushed the show back a little bit. And it actually went really well. We got a quarter of the album already, so we're looking forward to doing that now. Brando, this is not on the docket. This is not a part of your regularly scheduled program. But while you were gone, I actually put something together for you, and I'm hoping you're going to be able to hear this through the headphones and whatnot. If not, I will ask you to, after the show, actually go back and listen. But for our viewers and listeners' sakes, we're gonna play this right now, and this is from us at Journey into Comics to you. If it'll play. Of course, it won't.
Hey,
play.
Brando, it's your friend Nick. Just want to say congratulations on your beautiful baby boy. I'm very happy for you and your wife, Caitlin. I mean, how awesome is it that you've brought in another gamer and head into the world? So, congratulations, guys, and I can't wait till you're back on the show. Enjoy it.
Hey, Brando, this is Seek Donnelly, and I just want to say thanks for coming back to the show, man. We really missed you, and also congratulations to bringing Wyatt into the world. Give our love, our best and our love to your wife and everyone at home. So glad your family's complete now, but we need you back on the show, so we need you to get on here so that your son has something to grow up and listen to throughout the years and know the exact kind of nerd he needs to be. He needs to be a good, solid nerd like the rest of us. So thanks again, man, and I'm glad you're back.
Hey, Brando. Welcome back to the show. We just wanted to say congratulations on your baby boy, and I hope that you had a good 3 weeks with your new baby boy. Yeah, congratulations, and welcome back to the show.
Brandon Stone, congratulations on your offspring. Also, welcome back to Journey into Comics! This is Blaine, by the way.
And now, a special message from Silent Rob. Thanks, Silent Rob.
Hey, Brando, this is Westicles. Welcome you back to Journey into Comics. Congratulations to you and Caitlin on your baby boy Wyatt. Awesome to you guys.
Did you get all that, buddy?
Yeah, I did.
So
Thank you guys so much.
At first, and for me, I want to also say I'm glad to have you back, man. It was awesome to, in the transition of you taking your break, also be able to bring Shuddy into the fold, get him as a part of the family now, full on, get him into the intro, the whole nines. But I'm just really happy that everything is well with Wyatt, that he's gonna be a fucking dope kid, man, because you're just an awesome dude, and I can't wait to see what that dude grows up to be like, because he's got you at the helm. So, fuck yeah, dude.
Thank you. Oh, that was awesome.
Cool.
That's cool.
Now
That was cool.
think
I really liked what Rob had to say, by the way. That's really touching.
Yeah.
He's a man. He gets his point across in as few words as possible.
That he does.
Also known as 0 words.
But you know what he means with the few that he, you know the point of what he's saying.
Absolutely.
Of course.
And I think Shuddy wanted to say a few things too, right?
Yeah. I
right.
just wanted to reiterate, welcome back. It's definitely awesome to have you back here, so the three of us can riff and be all kinds of nerdy. And congratulations, man. The baby is absolutely adorable. So
Thank you, man.
congrats,
Thanks.
man.
Fuck
Thanks
yeah.
again for everything. Thanks for that awesome message. That was cool.
Hell
That was
yeah,
cool.
dude. I tell you, okay, so I'm going to ask you this question. Out of all the people that participated in that, who do you think procrastinated the absolute most to get anything done?
Well, my gut says Rob,
Okay.
but
Because he didn't do anything?
oh wow, Wes.
You're absolutely motherfucking 100% correct. He waited until today. And even today, I'm like, hey man, 4 or 4:30. He's like, that's fucking perfect. We'll do it at 4 or 4:30. So I get home like right at 4 o'clock. I've got band practice scheduled at 4:30. And he texts me. He's like, hey, my sister has a flat tire. I've got to go deal with this first. And I was like, oh my God, Wes, you're killing me, Smalls. But we got it done. Everything is well. He welcomed you back because that's what he said, and it was hilarious. But yeah, man, you're back, and let's actually maybe get down to a little bit of business here. I don't know who. Go ahead.
1 second. There's one guy in that whole thing that didn't say his name.
Yeah, did you not know who that was?
No, I know who it was, and I'm gonna give him some flack for it. Cause come on, man. Whoa, it is now time. It is now time to reveal who that was. That was Mike.
Yeah, Mike didn't say his name, and the fucked up thing is when he got on here with me and we did this, interestingly enough, I didn't even catch that he didn't say his name until 1 a.m. when I was working on putting this together, and I went, oh, fuck, well, too late now. Oh, well. So, it's part Mike's fault, part my own fault, but, yeah, so we put that together, and we're glad you're fucking back, man. And as Shuddy said, the three of us can just be kick-ass and riffing and be the team that I was hoping we were going to be. We're like the fucking Avengers. We've assembled, you know? But speaking of a team that's nothing to do with the Avengers, and I totally could have used them instead as a totally better segue. Brandon, there's a new Justice League of America cartoon coming out on Boomerang, or is already out?
Okay, I just saw this yesterday. I want to say that the Nerdist put this up on Nerdist.com. And there are rumblings of a new Justice League series coming to the Cartoon Network family of channels, because it might not be coming to Cartoon Network. It might be coming to actually Boomerang. Weirdly enough, Boomerang, of course, they are like pretty much Cartoon Network classic, but they've been moving away from just classic cartoons and having original programming as well, and newer programming, and it's almost becoming like what Cartoon Network was in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
All right.
So it's becoming like Cartoon Network 2.0, but there's just some rumblings about it because there was a picture that got leaked from an unnamed source connected to Warner Brothers Animated Division that there's a picture from, I don't know if it's an executive office, but there's a bunch of shows that are represented with this in here, including the new Mike Tyson show, which Nate is quoted on this show quite a bit.
That's a show I don't watch very often, but when I do watch it, I think it's hysterical.
I'm a fighting Chumaccara, the only thing I ain't never fight before.
There's a few others on here like Tom and Jerry, Wabbit, Be Cool Scooby-Doo, and on the very last part of the picture is silhouettes of what looks like caped heroes with just says JLA on it, and that could stand for potentially be Justice League Action.
Okay.
So, I mean, this is kind of neat that we're getting another Justice League themed cartoon because, of course, they brought back the Justice League, what was it, 2001, 2002? And then that spun off into Justice League Unlimited and just had this cavalcade of heroes that were on that show. So, I found the news to be really interesting. that is with the Cartoon Network and not. They've been doing stuff with what, WB or not W? I'm sorry, CW. Have they been? Where have the cartoons really existed? Other than, is the Teen Titans still on Cartoon Network?
Shuddy, do you have an answer for that? Because I actually don't know.
Teen Titans Go is, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I meant. The newer iteration of that. It was just kind of interesting, to me at least, that they could be bringing back Justice League, especially with the Batman v Superman movie coming up in a few months, and how, of course, it wouldn't be a tie-in, but of course, just like they did with Avengers and the cartoon series for that. It's just, it's money on the table that shouldn't be left there.
And putting spotlight on it so the kids see it and want to go to the movie, even though the parents really maybe shouldn't take them to see Batman v Superman. I mean, if you're really young, I guess I don't know if that's the right thing to say either, because fucking the first Batman movie I ever saw was '89 Batman, and that movie's pretty fucking dark when you get down to it.
Yeah, so, and I mean, nobody expected that. Mm-hmm. When that movie came out, the only other Batman to really compare it to was the 60s Batman, so I'm sure there were a lot of parents who took their kid to see it and were like, oh my god. My parents were not one of those sets of parents. My parents were fine with it.
Cool.
Especially with Batman Returns, because parents actually got pissed off over the Penguin toy and the Happy Meals. I mean, that's one reason why that they outed Tim Burton from directing a third one, because they wanted to go more kid-friendly, which is why we got the Batman Forever and Batman and Robin series that sort of melded the Tim Burton verse with the 60s campiness.
Yeah.
Unsuccessfully.
Can you guys hand me some shark repellent, please? You know what I'm saying? Like, so campy. I'm excited for a new Justice League cartoon. It could be really fun. I think, like you said, it's a good way to get people in the seats for Batman v Superman, more exposure for some of the lesser-known characters. Speaking of Batman v Superman, real quick to tangent, Jason Momoa making a pretty bold claim today that people will no longer fucking make fun of Aquaman after they see Dawn of Justice. Pretty bold statement.
I find that hard to believe. I mean, I don't personally. I think, especially with the way they did him in the New 52, I don't see any reason to make fun of him.
No, I think
he's not much different than Namor, really. Namor, just for some reason, I guess because he can fly, he's cooler. But they're not very different characters, in my opinion.
It's like one of those things where between the, how Marvel and DC have some superheroes or supervillains that mirror each other. Look at your Deathstroke, Deadpool. Look at Namor, Captain America, fucking Namor and Aquaman. It seems like Aquaman's the guy that takes the rap for being that quote-unquote shitty superhero, when Namor is the same dude pretty much. And I've never really understood that, because, I mean, even growing up, I know that there's both Namor and Aquaman, and I've always made fun of Aquaman for some reason.
A lot of people make fun of him due to the Super Friends sort of rendition of Aquaman, but I did look further down to go back to the JLA thing real quick, and the silhouettes, because the pictures are kind of far away, it's kind of hard to make it out, but apparently this person was able to make out Superman, Wonder Woman with the warrior weaponry, so there's another tie-in to the Batman v Superman film. Batman and Shazam are in the top row, and then we have Zatanna, Firestorm, maybe Green Lantern, and Huntress.
It's an interesting lineup.
And maybe even Hawkgirl, it seems so.
I think the one next to Firestorm is Flash.
You motherfuckers are looking at something I haven't seen. You guys need to link me. I'm over here like,
I did this thing called Google.
Yeah,
I mentioned it. Actually, I went to comicbookmovie.com, and it was a banner.
You're the pro. Hey, boom, man, right away. See, folks, this is why I love you guys both being on the show. In seconds, he has linked me to what I need to be looking at. And, now I can blow it up here, because I want to get my opinion. So, okay, yeah, I see Hawkman or Hawkgirl for sure. Huntress, Firestorm, Zatanna.
And I think that one in the middle is Flash, between Firestorm and Huntress.
I totally agree. I think that's Flash too. The stance kind of gives it away.
And then to the right, that you only see half of him, I would bet that's Cyborg.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. So now that I see it, Mike Tyson's Mysteries. Okay, cool. That's a neat thing to see. Hell yeah. So looking forward to that. Now to quasi. What's the word I'm looking for here? What am I doing?
Segue.
Segue. Thanks, Brando. In a segue, today, Shuddy watched something all the way through that I've only seen part of. Brandon, you've seen all of it, so I'm going to let you guys kind of handle this, and you guys can discuss it however you want. But you, Shuddy, today, what did you check out for the first time?
I had seen part 1 before, but decided to watch it all the way through because I had time today. But we watched the complete The Dark Knight Returns parts 1 and 2 with Peter Weller doing Batman's voice.
Mm-hmm.
Was Peter Weller in Dexter, Brando?
Yes,
He was.
RoboCop?
He was yeah, RoboCop.
Okay.
You are correct.
Most people would have referenced RoboCop first, and I think of him as the guy from Dexter who got the murder down of him. Spoilers. So at least from the first part, this is all I can say about this. The first part of the movie I really absolutely loved, the part 1, if you will. Just seeing Bruce go from this dude that has been in this wreck and he's beaten and he's pretty much done for, and then he makes a epic comeback to stand up against all these bad dudes that are plaguing the streets of Gotham, these thugs. And the story is really grim and dark, but very interesting, you know?
Yeah, it really is. I didn't realize. I mean, it's Frank Miller, so obviously the comic version was violent, but they didn't tone it down any.
No, they don't.
For the animated movie at all. It's pretty much just straight up blood and a little bit of swearing.
Was it in part 2 where he goes face to face with the Joker?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, okay. I own it on DVD, but the copy I have puts them both together as one film.
Yeah, they released that. I bought them when they both first came out. So
okay, yeah, I bought them just a few months ago. I want to say maybe March or April, and I just happened to see. It was around Avengers because everybody was putting out a bunch of superhero stuff that you can get at like stores for cheap, and I happened to see this for like $7 maybe. So and it was just the 2 cut together. So I can tell where part 1 and part 2 kind of stop and begin, but to me it's like a 2.5 hour animated feature that is just freaking kick ass.
Yeah.
I can't explain really how faithful this is, but it's damn near flawless.
Yeah, they don't take many liberties with it at all.
No, other than just the art style, they cleaned it up because, of course, the original Frank Miller artwork is a little bit more jagged, a little bit more almost sketched in a way. It's not as perfect as you would see like in a different book, but for the film, they did clean that up quite a bit and just kind of present it. I like Peter Weller as an old Batman. I think he did a great job.
Agreed. I really like hearing Peter Weller's voice as the older Batman.
The guy that played Superman did a good job. The guy that played Joker, now he's a different one because I want to say this guy most recently played in a show called Person of Interest. He's kind of the guy with the glasses, nerdy looking guy.
Let's find out.
His portrayal of Joker is a little different. I didn't dislike it, but I wasn't fully into it at first either. But I'm all for anybody taking their hands at doing a Joker because as much as I love Mark Hamill, he just can't do it forever.
Okay, I was the guy from Lost that did it.
Yes, that's the other show he was in, Lost.
I haven't seen part 2 yet, so I really can't comment on how awesome it is.
But it's violent.
Well, I'm sure it is.
Like, there's really, yeah, it just really hit home how brutal that book actually is.
One of my highlights from the first part, though, man, I really liked Carrie Kelly. I mean, honestly, great Robin, you know? And the way that she kind of just says, you know what, fuck this. I'm not just going to lay there and let you take it, Bruce. I'm going to be on your side and help you out. And she goes to help him fight the... What the fuck is that guy? A Cyclops or some shit? I don't remember what his name was.
He's the head of the mutants.
Yeah. And, you know, she helps Bruce out there, and I thought that was awesome. I really did. I really enjoyed the first part of that. I'll have to check the second half out and then give my review.
Go ahead, Shuddy.
I found it funny that in the second part of it, Batman says to Carrie like 3 or 4 times, if you don't do this, you're fired. Or if you do this, you're fired. And she immediately, as soon as he turns his back, does exactly what he tells her not to do. And there's no repercussions whatsoever.
Bruce
If there was a negative to this, and this isn't a deal killer for me, but it's since that is one of my favorite books, we lose Batman's inner monologue. And there's a lot of great moments in The Dark Knight Returns where with his inner monologue, especially like the middle climax with the mutant group, when he's in the Bat tank and he's shooting these guys with guns, and it's almost like he's talking to the audience when he goes, "Rubber bullets, honest." That made me crack up when I read it. Now they do reference that in the movie, where I think the gang leader stands up and goes, "You're using rubber bullets? You don't even have the goals to use the firepower you have, you know?" So they reference it, but it's also so cool. One of the best things for Batman's stories is his inner monologue, is his thinking, because you get inside the detective's head, and that's not here, but it's still very much worth a watch.
Especially in this story, when it's basically him just deciding to just let he's had enough, and that the only way to combat this is just to go to extremes that he hadn't gone to before.
Yep.
It really made... I mean, this older Batman in The Dark Knight Returns is a brutal Batman.
Okay, so my question is, we know that this is going to be the template, if you will, for the basis of Batman v Superman. Do you think we see that ruthlessness from Bruce in this movie, where he's just unforgiving?
It sort of seems that way from the trailer that was released.
Yeah.
That he's a little bit unhinged, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of at his breaking point and is just in the mood to kick some ass.
Now, and I don't know if you two both went back. I promise we're sticking in the same zone, and we're going to get back around to it. But 2 weeks ago, we had Nick on. Me and Nick had a sit down, and one of the things we discussed was this rumor, or this theory, fan theory, if you will, that the Joker, Jared Leto's Joker, is actually Jason Todd.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about this rumor possibility? Is that something you would like to see? I mean, you guys are also DC fans. Is this something that is a necessity for this DC cinematic universe, or is this like what the fuck are you thinking if that's actually going to be the case?
I think it would be a little strange for them to do that, because there's no introduction of Jason elsewhere in the cinematic universe. So it's a little bit... It would just seem a little out of place to me.
Rushed.
Exactly.
Okay, that's kind of where I was
But
at.
then again, Jason Todd has been a much better character since he was beaten to death than he ever was as Robin. So maybe it would do the character good to not have, not to have that build-up.
We'll see. I think it is going to be a little weird at first, because basically what we're doing is that we're stepping into a universe that is already happening, that's already been happening for a great number of years now, and we're only got introduced to it through Superman, through the Man of Steel, and then we're in the next film we're just going to go hog wild with seeing how big this world really is and how many other interesting characters inhabit it. So by doing that, they are essentially going to have to go in another film and go with retrospect. They're going to have to look back. They're going to have to tell that story, but not by going back in time and doing a prequel, but by doing a current story with this character that's going to either flashback or it's going to call back to who the Jason Todd character was before he became the Joker, if that's in fact what they're doing. I don't mind them doing that with the Joker simply because we have seen on film, we've seen a few different Jokers now. And with each new iteration, the fandom goes nuts for it because it's either you're never going to be able to top Jack Nicholson, you're never going to be able to top Heath Ledger, and my
You're never going to be able to top Cesar Romero
or Mark Hamill.
Okay, Mark Hamill.
All right, Nate. Jeez.
But there's so many different fandoms with how many different portrayals of the same character. This is a character that you can be that open with. It's hard to do that with Batman, where he's Batman. You're either going to do I'm going to kick everybody asses Batman, or you're going to do a more laid back detective Batman, or a mixture of the two. But there's not much variety with it unless you put Dick Grayson or someone else in the actual suit. But with the Joker, you can do so many creative things with that character. That's why I just see him as Play-Doh. You can just do whatever you wanted with him.
All right, so I have one question that's going to sludge your guys' thinking, and I didn't get to say this when Nick was on. If it is the case that Jason Todd becomes the Joker, who the fuck beats the fuck out of Jason Todd then? I mean, what is he going to be like in Liar Liar where Jim Carrey kicks his own ass? I mean, is that what we're going to see on film? Or are they going to bring in a different Joker that he inevitably kills? I mean, that would be unprecedented to have two Jokers in this universe, and then the Jared Leto Joker has taken the mantle over because he survived, ultimately.
Yeah, one would think that if they were going to do this, that there would have been a prior Joker, and that basically the Jason Todd story plays out and the Jason Todd character kills the Joker.
Well, is it safe to say that the Nolan films are out of continuity?
Yes.
So, they wouldn't be trying to tie it to Heath Ledger's Joker.
No. So then it's weird because now this is back to what I was saying with Nick is like, now if this is the case, we have 2, maybe 3 Robins that exist in this universe because we've heard the rumor that Dick Grayson is already deceased or something has happened to him in this universe. Jason Todd also has the same kind of thing go down, and then you presumably have a Carrie Kelly type character going to show up to be on Batfleck's side. So that means we've got 3 Robins potentially, and then 2 Jokers. It's so unprecedented. I don't know. If that happens, they're really trying to make this universe feel way fucking bigger than we know it is, Just by cramming as much shit as possible into this, saying, oh, well, this already happened. We're already way past this moment in the timeline.
Yeah, they've already greenlit a trilogy for the Affleck Batman.
And you heard how that happened.
Yes, of course. Now, another thing that I just heard recently is that they've actually put of course, I heard that the Mad Max director, I can't remember his name right now, George Miller, was going to direct Man of Steel 2, but I've now heard that plans for that are on a definite hold and that they're going forward with Batman as sort of the central character for this new universe instead of Superman.
Well, I don't see how they couldn't do that because obviously Batman is better.
I mean, let's be real. Obviously, Batman's the greatest superhero of all of time, except for he got beat by Spider-Man in our top 50, but I digress.
Technicalities.
If it was up to
There's
Nick,
no accounting for taste, Nate.
That's what she said. Shuddy, that's what she said. Oh, fuck. So sticking with cinematic movie universes, I'm going to fuck this guy's name up. Ike Perlmutter? Is that it? What is it?
Ike, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Where the fuck did it go, Brando? Oh, here it is. Ike Perlmutter. I was pretty dead on there. He's gone from Marvel. He's not the guy that Kevin Feige has to report to anymore. He's not the guy that's going to fuck up stuff with Marvel. I don't know about you guys, but this seems like it could be the biggest and best move for Marvel moving forward.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
When you've already got enough hands in the pot when you're trying to make a movie that you don't need a committee micromanaging the fuck out of
every decision you want to make.
That the thing is already getting micromanaged. It's like something that's already getting micromanaged is now going to be micromanaged even more. It's obscene.
Oh yeah, I mean he was basically fighting with Kevin Feige over money, over how much money he could spend, so you have to make the movie this certain way. You have to keep this in mind with your budget, and essentially, did you guys mention this last week or the week before of how Kevin Feige all of a sudden didn't have to answer to Perlmutter and now he's answering to the head honcho at Disney? Did you guys talk about that?
I don't think so. I don't think we actually have discussed this story yet. It was news, but I was hoping that we could discuss this because it does have a lot of implications moving forward with the cinematic universe, and I was hoping to get your guys' take on exactly what we can hope to expect moving forward, other than a more relaxed cinematic universe.
It's okay. So my viewpoint on it is this. This guy really just, do I want to say the words out of touch? Maybe so, because, all right, the history with this guy is that this guy basically rescued Marvel back in the 90s. He owned Toy Biz. Toy Biz merged with Marvel. They became Marvel Enterprises because Marvel was going bankrupt. So he rose to becoming was CEO of Marvel, vice president or something. So okay, he saved Marvel. He was the head of Marvel. Then they have some successful films. They start getting the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Kevin Feige works his way up to becoming the head of Marvel Studios, or the main guy there. And essentially, these two butted heads. Now, eventually, it got to a point where Feige's now answering to somebody else. But now, just a week later, they've pretty much kicked Perlmutter to the curb, because during the sale of Marvel to Disney, Perlmutter got a crap load of money. He got like $800 million, maybe plus $500 million in Disney stock. I mean, he was a head guy, and he got to keep his title as CEO of Marvel. So, with him gone now, pretty much the way it's being worded is that the performance of Age of Ultron and Ant-Man are being blamed on him stifling their budget.
Which
now
I'm guessing Perlmutter is part of the reason that Edgar Wright ended up dipping.
I would have no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That he has at least a major contributing role in that situation.
Now, our friend of the show, Seek, is the one who actually first shared this article when I read it, and the way it's worded, it's almost like there's, in a way, Disney's looking at Age of Ultron as a failure.
I thought it was successful.
Well, from their perspective, it should have way outperformed the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
And it didn't, so they see that as a failure, even though it made them a shit ton of money.
Sophomore slump.
Yeah, so they're using these two films pretty much as the excuses. Get the hell out of here, Kevin, go do your thing. You bring us back. And of course, they've already been in production with Civil War and Doctor Strange already, so we're not going to feel the winds of change with that yet.
My thing is, I mean, and I know you guys have heard of this, Feige almost quit. He almost said, "I'm done," and left working on Civil War. He was that close to being done before this all transpired. I mean, imagine what the universe could have been, or possibly would have been, had Kevin Feige left. He's the guy that's championed this massive cinematic universe that doesn't seem to be wanting to slow down. They say, fuck this idea of superhero movie fatigue. We're going to keep pumping out awesome-ass content. This is no longer just a superhero movie. It's a genre, and we're leaders in the genre, you know? So I'm glad Feige didn't leave. I'm glad that Perlmutter's out. What a fucking chode. And let's just look forward to bigger decisions down the road, because I think we aren't really going to see the full effect until, like you said, around the time that Doctor Strange is coming out or Black Panther's coming out. Not even the movies that are necessarily coming out next year are going to be in the scope of how much Marvel's going to change. You know, because Civil War still has that stench. He still kind of had his hand in it a little bit. Hopefully Kevin Feige can take control and say, okay, well, here are the things I wanted to do that he said we couldn't do. Now we're going to fucking do them and move forward, you know?
Another thing with that Perlmutter did that I read is that he's the reason why, in like the big box sets of action figures for Age of Ultron, that there wasn't a Black Widow character for the toys.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Speaking of ScarJo, real quick, have you guys seen Lucy?
No.
No.
Go, I'll torrent or something. I'll get it to you somehow, some way, and you will watch it, and you will be. It's fucking crazy. It's a really great Scarlett Johansson movie. I was really shocked. Watched it on a recommendation, and I loved it. I thought it was great. It was completely outside of what I was expecting, but I digress. So, Shuddy, what do you think? What's going to happen now that this guy has been fucking ousted?
Well, as long as they don't find somebody else to, pick apart the budget for movies, I think they're just going to get more. They're going to get bigger. They're going to do more to get what happens on the page in the books onto the screen. So we're going to probably have bigger action sequences, bigger set pieces.
Hell yeah.
There's the bell.
Don't worry about it.
I just think they're going to have more creative license and be able to do what they want to do and not have writers leave during production because they can't get along with the studio.
Man, and now that we know this whole story and it's kind of broke how it has, I go back and I wonder if this is part of the reason also that Ed Norton didn't come back. You know, we've always heard that he asked for too much money, but maybe he wasn't asking for that much more. And that was just what Marvel Studios said as a way to kind of save their own asses.
Well, on that note, you have to say the same about Don Cheadle.
Yeah, with Terrence Howard getting ousted after the first Iron Man.
Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, Perlmutter was also another reason why they didn't want to pay Downey Jr. a whole lot. In fact, Terrence Howard made more than Downey Jr. in the first Iron Man.
What?
Yes, because they didn't want him. They wanted somebody younger, and they were afraid of. They weren't sure if they could like insure him, because when you hire an actor, you have to insure them for the movie. You have to get insurance on them, because if something happens, you need to be able to make money. So, and of course, with all the problems that he had over the years, they were afraid of that, and his age. But then, what's his name? Jon Favreau was the director. Him and Feige were championing. They wanted Downey, and they pretty much Downey agreed to do it for a lot less money than he probably could have tried to negotiate. But at the tail end of that, of course, he renegotiated the deal for a much larger sum and merchandising and everything.
Yeah, totally. My hope is that maybe this is also the start of Disney going after some of the other Marvel properties. Not just kind of going after them. Disney saying, well, you know what? Like, we've got the money. We can tell Fox. And here's one thing I'm so shocked, and I firmly believe that we won't see this until the very unfortunate release of the Fantastic Four movie on Blu-ray and DVD. But when that happens, I feel like that's going to be the time that Fox makes the move and says, we're not doing a sequel to this movie. And also, Fox is going to work with Marvel the next time we try to do Fantastic Four. Akin to what Sony is doing with Spider-Man right now.
Another thing is that they can also do, in lieu of going after other franchises that they don't own the rights to anymore, they can now go after higher profile directors, too.
True. That would be
and
dope.
Actors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they have been lacking for that.
No, I mean...
Yeah, but
But they could have. I mean, maybe they could have gotten somebody who wasn't Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, you don't like him as
Strange.
Doctor Strange?
He's got a weird face. Like, I've been watching Sherlock, trying to.
I love that show. I love Sherlock.
Oh, it's good, but he's got like these soulless eyes.
Well, I think that's the character he's playing. I think.
But I mean, his eyes just look like I wish I could remember like the movie that I'm thinking of, where the guys just have black eyes in their eye sockets. Like, you don't see any whites of that dude's eyes ever. He just looks like an empty abyss behind his into his skull. I don't know.
Man, I'm excited for Doctor Strange. Just a side note.
But I don't dislike him as much as I dislike Amy Adams. So I'm not going to shit on the movie.
Way to cast that stone. Keeping it Marvel versus DC. I love it.
Before we move on and get away from Marvel here, did you guys hear the rumor about how they're going to introduce Spider-Man into Civil War?
Now, I've heard several different things about Spidey in Civil War. One thing I've heard is that initially Tom Holland was only going to do a cameo appearance, and now he's in multiple scenes. So they've changed it around. So they've got him involved in several different ways. Now, how he's going to be introduced, I don't think I actually read that. I just know that he's been more firmly in production with the movie.
The rumor I heard about how they're going to kind of slide him into the movie is that Tony Stark helps Peter Parker create the web shooters.
That would be an interesting take, because Parker's still a high school kid. He can't get this right in some rhyme or reason. He's obviously the Spider-Man, but no one knows, and then he gets help from Stark. I think that'd be cool, because then at the end of the day, when he ultimately betrays Stark and fights with Cap, it will make this whole, like, oh, you fucking backstabbing son of a bitch, I helped you make those fucking web shooters, and now you shot me in the fucking face with them. What the fuck? You know?
It is a little jarring, and it's, a little bit liberal with the story, but we've seen two different iterations of, and only one of those had actually had web shooters. The Tobey Maguire one had it almost kind of like the black suit, where it was like organically created
out of his wrist instead of his asshole.
Yeah, something like that. And
Yeah.
Because that's where the web would have come from. Let's be real. I'm not wrong.
No, you're not.
That's just the unfortunate truth. You can't get over it. You're like, oh, fuck, that's really gross to think about. Are the webs brown?
Okay, so maybe this is just like a big secret. Maybe Parker can shoot webs organically, but it's through his ass, and he just can't. He can't do that. So he's like, I gotta find another way. There's gotta be another way to do this.
I mean, you've seen him swinging his web with like the web by his cock. I mean, it's not too far to say that he's shot it out of his ass, and we just never noticed. I mean, let's keep it real. Now, while I am very excited for what Marvel has in store, you sent me a little tidbit, and I'll Google the whole article. Brandon, are they really trying to make a MegaMan movie, and is it really going to be by Fox?
Yes, it is. Let it out. Let it out. Yes, and there's not much news about it other than that it's looking like it's going into production or pre-production. So this is going to join other great successful movie or video game adaptations such as Hitman, Super Mario Brothers,
Doom.
I mean, okay, Resident Evil's been successful, but at this point, you can just say it's Resident Evil in name only.
Yeah.
That movie has nothing to do with the damn game at all, other than just like their characters who share the same name.
Namesake alone.
Yeah, and now, okay, so basically I wanted to bring this up because, Nate, you went on a huge 20th Century Fox rant a few episodes back about how these motherfuckers just don't know how to make movies.
They don't. They Brandon, a fucking 5-year-old in kindergarten could write a more cohesive script than the fucking Fantastic Four movie I was unfortunate and watched. I still can't believe I watched it. It scarred me. I'm not laughing right now. That movie is so bad. It's so, like, I hate, this has been like a solid month and a half of me hating on how terrible this movie is. I'm driving the point home, folks. It's really a shit movie. I mean, seriously, I would rather watch Jack Black and Mos Def recreate the Fantastic Four movie like they did in Be Kind Rewind than watch that shit that Josh Trank and Fox just put out. It's so horrific.
I'm just envisioning Jack Black dressed up like the Thing.
Where's my dick? You know? There's nothing cohesive about it at all, guys.
Dude, they get Danny Glover to be Mr. Fantastic, and then Mos Def plays fucking Human Torch, and they don't cast anybody for the Invisible Woman because she's invisible
the whole time. You just don't see her. Oh, that's
Fun fact about Fantastic Four: it is only the second biggest flop of the year.
the second biggest.
Yep.
Is Tomorrowland the first biggest?
Yes, it is.
I didn't see Tomorrowland, but that's one of the movies that every person that I've heard said it's really actually good, and it was just poorly marketed, and that you should watch it anyways. But I don't know.
If they say so.
I mean, if the elusive they say so. But I don't know.
Yeah, that is expected to finish the year with a total loss of $120 to $150 million.
Wow, and actually, Fantastic Four is like on track to lose 80 to 100 million.
Yep.
See, and that's where if you're Disney, you swoop in, you go, hey, we'll comp you the 100 mil. We want the Fantastic Four, 100%. We want to buy them back. If it costs the loss of the movie, so what? And then right around the
maybe Disney would do that if they weren't slated to lose 150 million on Tomorrowland.
Fucking Tomorrowland ruining everything, bastards.
Now, I will say, as far as 20th Century Fox goes, with MegaMan, with them doing a MegaMan movie, there's no real news about it. I'm going to wait until I see anything, because as bad as the Fantastic Four was, and as much of studio involvement there was with that movie, when there's a good director behind a series, then you could churn out some good movies, like Bryan Singer does with the X-Men movies. With Days of Future Past, he's got Apocalypse coming out. That son of a bitch knows how to make an X-Men movie.
He does.
The 4 movies that he's made are the best X-Men movies. 1, 2, Days of Future Past, and hopefully this new one. However, he was also a producer on First Class.
Which
the only
was
reason
awesome.
the only reason why he directed Days of Future Past is because something fell through it with the other director. He was just going to produce it again, but then he just stepped in to direct it. Now, there's another video game movie that is being talked about right now, and that is Assassin's Creed. Have you guys heard about this one?
Michael Fassbender. Now,
this is not going to be an adaptation of the game.
It's its own take, right?
It's going to be a story along the same lines of the game. It's going to be it's almost like it's another entry in the series.
That's interesting.
So
that's the best way to do it, I think.
Oh yeah, dude! And as soon as I read that, I said I am now on board with seeing this, because I was just worried about what are they going to tell? They're going to tell Altair. They're going to try to do Ezio. Is he going to be playing this guy and that guy? But apparently, the setup is going to be kind of similar to the first games, where the story has a present character in Desmond, and then has a past character
in Ezio.
Fassbender. Yeah, Ezio, whoever, Altair, whoever that. This is going to be the same thing, but with Fassbender playing the 2 characters. He's going to be playing the descendant and then the ancestor. But it's going to be a new story along in the same timeline of the entire Assassin's Creed universe.
Are they going to have, what is it, Animus? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
They're going to have that, and that's going to be how they see. That's interesting. Please don't tell me Fox is behind that.
I don't know who is behind it. I honestly, in this article, pretty much they're just saying like all these other video game movies that are in production or at various stages, like Assassin's Creed, Uncharted, BioShock, Metal Gear Solid, Borderlands.
Well, every title you named are games that I have played, love, and beat the shit out of. So if the movies can do any justice to that, and I mean, let me tell you what, you thought I was critical for the Fantastic Four, which is a team that I care about, but they're not my top favorite all-time superhero lineup. If any fucking company, I don't give a fuck if it's Fox, I don't care who the fuck it is, if they fuck up BioShock or Metal Gear Solid, there are going to be some extreme mudslinging sessions on this show. Because those two series I hold very close to my heart. And Brandon, you'll actually here in a second be talking about the latest entry in the Metal Gear series, Hideo Kojima's final Metal Gear game, The Phantom Pain, which I hope to get at some point in the near future. But yeah.
It is a 20th Century Fox for Assassin's Creed.
Rolling the dice.
Yeah, it's really... It's really going to be that.
Okay, and I know we haven't seen this yet. We haven't seen Deadpool, but from the trailers and from everything we know, Deadpool looks like it's going to be on pace to be fucking awesome. So is it safe to say now that you could say Fox has a grading scale of it's either a Fantastic Four or it's a Deadpool? Like, it's either so bad it's Fantastic Four or it's so good it's Deadpool, you know? Hopefully Assassin's Creed's on that Deadpool side, or Days of Future Past, which I saw a hilarious meme for. It was Michael Fassbender and Ian McKellen, both in their respective Magneto outfits, and the pun was Days of Fuchsia Past. Because old Magneto's gray. He's lost all the fuchsia out of his outfit, and I just thought that was fucking hilarious. But anyways, let's roll on. If you guys have anything else to say about MegaMan, I 50-50. Part of me is like, maybe it could be good. Maybe it could be a Deadpool. Maybe it could be.
I don't have any attachment to the video games, so it's.
They were always too hard for me, man.
Oh my god, they were frustratingly hard.
You have to.
I love them.
You have to memorize what order to fight the dudes. Like, fuck that. I just want to play a game.
Yep.
I, however, have watched Sarah beat almost all of them, so it's enjoyable to me in that respect. That I do like the level design and the gameplay and whatnot is fun, but the games are so fucking frustrating to me. I'm just like, nope, not gonna do it.
I enjoy the games and I enjoy the universe. I don't own all of them, but it's fun, and but it's also something that I can sort of detach myself emotionally to. I guess it's not something like a Metal Gear game, which I absolutely love that series from beginning to end. Mega Man, if it comes out and it's terrible, I could just pretend like it doesn't exist.
Super Mario Bros.
Super Mario Bros. Something like that. But with Metal Gear, when that movie comes out, it's going to be like, I'm going to be a lot more critical of it.
Well, by default. I mean, Shuddy, what is your favorite game series? I don't think we actually know this, all time.
Jeez.
I mean, not to unintentionally put you on the fucking spot.
No, that's exactly what you did. That was your plan. You were waiting for a chance to put me on the spot this episode. It hadn't happened yet, so we need to do it near the end.
That was my plan.
That's a really hard one.
Why don't we come back to that?
I mean, I hold a lot. Super Mario 1, 2, and 3 and Super Mario World are some of the most fun games that I've ever played.
World is amazing.
Super Mario. I even love Super Mario All Stars.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't go as far as say they're my favorite, because if they were, I'd have my NES and Super Nintendo hooked up somewhere in the house. I mean, the games that I buy most consistently and most frequently are the Madden games.
So what if Fox made a Madden game?
A Madden movie?
A Madden movie?
Or a Madden movie. I knew what I fucking meant. Don't judge me.
So basically, they're just going to make a new movie every year with just slight updates about football.
Put me in, coach.
Slight
you
changes.
Can't play. You have a concussion. I don't care, coach. Your leg is broken, so.
Oh.
All right, Brando. So let's give you a moment to kind of come back into the spotlight of the show, really take over here. We've got a moment like that coming in a little bit for Shuddy as well. But I want to hear from you, man. Metal Gear Solid 5, what do you think? Every person that I've talked to so far gives it a raving review. I got to hear it from the man himself, the guy who got me into Metal Gear. I mean, fucking truth be told. I played the first Metal Gear on PS1 before I actually knew Brando. And then it wasn't really until Snake Eater and 2, Sons of Liberty and Snake Eater both, that I watched you play and then ended up playing myself, that made me really fall for the series. So from you, I want to hear, man, what do you think?
I love it. Gameplay-wise, it is the best Metal Gear game that they've made. I will say that if you play Ground Zeroes, and I will say that going from that to this, when they start you off in Phantom Pain, it's a lot easier.
Oh, God, I downloaded Ground Zeroes on PlayStation Plus last month because it was free, and I gave it about 3 hours of my life, and I have washed my hands of it. I haven't even got through the first set of missions. Like, I rescued the boy, and now I'm wandering around trying to find the other person, and it just die all the time. This stealth shit is not for me. Because I think I'm being stealthy, then somebody fucking sees me, and then I'm swarmed, and it's just like, I give up.
The reflex mode is awesome, and it's also a little bit of a cheat as well. It will save your ass if you're quick enough, though. The actual presentation of the game, I will say the intro is about an hour long.
Oh my God.
Now, let me just follow that up by saying there aren't as much big story parts. Like 2 and 3 are so dialogue heavy, to the point of you're sitting there watching most of it, right? Like in Metal Gear Solid 2, you spend most of the game looking at a codec screen with just 2 faces. And if you're into the universe, that's cool. But if you're like not, if this is your first go, you're like, man, this is boring as shit. But this game doesn't do that. There is no codec in this game. None.
I don't necessarily think I like that, Brando.
However, there is still a radio. When you use your binoculars, this game is open world. You have missions. This game is set up episodically. So there are credits at the beginning and at the end of every mission. So when you're doing it, they say, okay, you have to go and so you're in Afghanistan. You have a mission. You have your parameters. Or parameters. You have to take this guy out, or save this guy, or get this. So you go in via chopper. They put you at a place outside the hot zone. Then you have to make your way in. There'll be for example, there are probably some little checkpoints along the way. You got to work your way around them. But then they'll have the actual base or something that you got to sneak in, and you got to scope it out, go around it, use your binoculars, and then when you're using your binoculars, that's when you can radio about the mission. Story elements really aren't relayed to you through the radio. In this game, there are briefing tapes that you can listen to while you're playing the game and while you're messing with your menus, with getting your base built up. So that'll give you more insight as to what's going on. Snake doesn't talk as much in this game, which is funny because they got Kiefer Sutherland to do the voice.
He's no David Hayter. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's why he doesn't talk so much. Maybe he was too expensive.
I'm gonna get flack for this. I think he's a better actor than Hayter.
Okay. I don't. I mean, I haven't played it, so I can't give you my opinion on if he's better edited or not.
Now, there are still times where it's odd to me to hear the voice, right? Because I'm expecting Hayter's voice. Just he was Snake for 15 years. I don't like the way they pretty much excommunicated David Hayter. They didn't call him and say, "Hey, we're replacing you." He had to call them and go, "So you guys making a new game?" And they're like, "Yeah, we got somebody else." And really, that was Avi Arad. He is a movie producer. He's been around. He's been associated with Ike Perlmutter in the past, and he's the guy who's been a big champion of getting video game adaptations done. He's become friends with Kojima, and he actually suggested Kiefer Sutherland to Kojima, because Kojima wanted an actual more facial acting. He wanted a lot more movement, subtlety to the acting. I think the voice acting is fine. He does just a fine job. They do need to have a different actor at some point, because having Hader do an old Snake and then a younger Snake, it just is going to sound weird. So at some point they need to do that. But for this game, it's neat because you can go in and you don't have to, it's more accessible, I guess. You don't have to just go worry about, oh man, I need to set aside 4 hours for this because I don't know how long it's going to take. You can load up a mission, and most of these missions take about an hour to an hour and a half to complete.
That's
so
not
you
bad.
can sort of gauge, okay, I have 2 hours to play. I can go mess with my base, and then I can try to get this done. And so with that respect, it is a lot different. But I think it's the best Metal Gear they've made, and it's so far the one with the least amount of story. I will tell you this, Nate, and I know you said you haven't got it yet. Have you played Peace Walker?
Negative. That was PSP?
It's on PSP, but it's also on the HD collection. I don't know if you bought that.
I do have the HD collection. I have not yet played Peace Walker. But now that
Okay.
I did know that it was on there. Yeah.
If you want to play Phantom Pain, try to either play that or watch all the cutscenes on YouTube, because that is pretty much the setup. That whole game is like, okay, what happened with Big Boss after Snake Eater? Okay, this happens, right? The Peace Walker incident happens. That leads into Ground Zeroes. That leads into Phantom Pain.
Oh, okay.
And so, like with what Shuddy said, he was saving a boy. That boy is in Peace Walker. The girl you're saving is in Peace Walker. The reason why those two are at that base is because of something that happened
in Peace Walker,
or a result of something that happens in Peace Walker.
Okay, that's
So,
fucking cool.
Peace Walker is pretty much, they got their idea of how can we make this big open world game. Peace Walker's not open world, but the idea of building your base, getting your men, building up your own private army, that's Peace Walker. They've taken that to the next level. So when you go to play Phantom Pain, you're going to be, okay, I know what I'm doing, sort of, because this is sort of what I've done already, except with Phantom Pain, now you can go and explore your base.
Oh, that's cool.
And you can add on to it. You can build other platforms. It almost kind of reminds me of like the Big Shell of how it looks, which is kind of neat with that. And then you can also customize all that stuff with the color and your own emblem and your own loadouts, your buddies. You get buddies in this game where people can go out with you. You only get a couple, though. I think you get a horse, you get D-Dog, so you get little sneaking mission dog with you. And the dog has an eye patch.
Hilarious.
And then I just got my new buddy, or who's going to become my new buddy, Quiet, the sniper. And I just ended up taking her out. Spoiler alert, I guess. She's a sniper in the game. And I guess she's kind of hanging out somewhere. And then if you wander across that, that's cool, because when I found her, that wasn't a mission I had. It was like, oh, there's a side op. There's a blueprint that I can go make something new for my bionic arm. And then on my way there, I got shot by a sniper, and it was her, and it loaded right into that chapter.
Whoa, that's cool.
And as long as you were so far into the game, I think it was going to load that up, because I still have two pretty big missions that I had to do before Chapter 11, but I did Chapter 11 before I did 9 and 10.
Whoa. Okay, so now I have a question.
Yeah.
How many hours have you put in, and what percentage complete are you?
I am still very early. I've played every night, but unfortunately, last 2 nights I haven't got to play as much as I wanted. So I guarantee you, okay, I was above Nick before the weekend, and I guarantee you that he's passed me by now.
Well, of course, it's Nick. All he's going to do is play Metal Gear.
I mean, his current living situation, he lives a little bit further away from work because he has to travel more. He hasn't been able to put as much time in, so I've been ahead of him, but I guarantee you he's passed me. And after we get done here, I'm probably going to play more, because when you do these missions, you have your parameters, you go do them, but then during these missions, that's when you're going to get more story. There are some missions that are like, okay, you have to go save this guy, and it's story-oriented. Or okay, we got to go get this thing. We're getting a contract, and this is a U.S. government weapon, and we got to go get it. During that mission, near the end, that's when you're going to get more story. And it's going to lead into, okay, what the heck is going on now?
Man, I'm really looking forward to this game.
It's a great game. It's a different way to do it. It's the right move. And I guess I'm just kind of repeating myself at this point, but the intro, I was not expecting the intro to be that awesome. Nate, if you love Metal Gear,
duh.
This intro is gonna you're gonna be hooked. But please do me a favor.
Okay.
At least try to play Peace Walker play Ground Zeroes beforehand, because then if you jump into this thing, you can jump into this right now, go out and buy it tonight, and you can enjoy it. But you're gonna get a little bit more enjoyment of being attached to some of the characters through Peace Walker first.
Well, if I could go out and buy it tonight, I would. However, I should probably start a GoFundMe so I can get some $60 and buy this game. Before that, though, I do want to say I forgot Nick wanted to send this very special message to the show after your review of Metal Gear. Maybe.
I'll straight up suck that Metal Gear dick.
Okay. So now that was said.
Which is so funny. It's so funny because the new Metal Gear in this game looks like he's got a dick.
What?
I haven't seen it personally, but Nick told me about it, and I cracked up. I didn't even put that together because I kind of forgot that whole button thing. But that's awesome because now he can literally do that.
He can literally suck Metal Gear's dick. Now, one question before we move on. Shuddy, just based on what Brando just said, are you maybe thinking about going and getting this game now?
Nope.
Still nope. He's like,
nope.
I'm not touching it with 100 foot
I am
pole.
not, until it's free, I'm not touching it because I'm not going to spend $60 on a game that I'm going to get frustrated with within an hour.
Okay, makes sense. That's fair. Well,
Now,
the first hour would just be the intro. You wouldn't even be frustrated.
That's true.
Now, did you guys see the unboxing that I did for the YouTube channel?
I was going to bring that up. If you guys wanted to check out the unboxing of the collector's edition with Baby Arm, Brando did that on our YouTube channel. I thought it was awesome, making sure the people know that this is a Hideo Kojima game, as it's nowhere to be found on the box.
Nowhere on the box, but holy crap, you'll see his name a lot in the damn game.
That's cool. I mean,
it's all over the place.
That's awesome.
Now, he's also in the game, too, apparently.
Oh, that's fucking rad, man.
I don't know. I know you can rescue him in Ground Zeroes, and I did not do that because I didn't know. I did like the main story part of Ground Zeroes, and I did one extra mission, like until Phantom Pain came out, and then I just went right to Phantom Pain. I didn't worry about finishing all the Ground Zeroes, but yeah, you can actually get him, and he'll actually be a member of your squad. So that's kind of funny.
Man, fuck yeah. So before we continue on with what we've got planned, I wrote this in the notes. I just want to bring this up to you guys. Of course, I logged out of it on accident, but I want to give a follow-up and make mention. I don't know if you guys listened to the episode, everybody's super busy. Last week's episode, we had a special guest, Ben Krieger, on, or Krieger. I can't fucking say his name right. It's a problem of mine. He's written this comic called The Black Suit of Death. The idea, the concept is fucking brilliant. I loved his pitch to me, made me want to back it. So I did. I went and backed this comic. It is on Kickstarter right now. They have 51 backers, and they're just under 50% with 7 days left to go. They've made $2,046 towards their goal of $5,639. So if you're a listener of Journey into Comics, or if you're one of the hosts or one of the friends of the show, at least give it a check out, or go listen to the episode from last week and determine if what this guy says about his book is enough to get you to kickstart it, because I really do firmly believe this is the first time I've actually backed something on Kickstarter, just to be quite honest. So I don't really usually typically do something like this. So it was to me, the concept and the idea is just, it's great. So go to warriorinnkeeper.com/Kickstarter, and you can back and support their project, which has 51 backers currently. And like I said, they're down to their final 7 days, so this is the final week push. Hopefully we can get them to their goal before then. Moving on, Shuddy, you brought this idea to us, man. A new segment for the show. Do we want to like call it like pick of the week or something? We didn't really discuss naming this segment. We just have it.
I am not a namer of things. I'm not good at that. So if you guys want to name it, I will defer to you.
Brando, what do you think? Should we call this pick of the week?
Sure, that sounds good enough to me.
All right, so this is the Journey into Comics pick of the week. Now, what this is we have picked a number 1 of a new series that just came out this week. We have all read it, and we're going to discuss it now and determine whether we want to continue reading this series or if we're going to default to doing something else. So we'll start with Shuddy, and then Brando, and then I'll talk, or however the fuck we want to do this. It doesn't matter. What were your impressions of this book, and give this book a warm welcome and let people know what we're currently reading.
Okay, this week we read Plutona number 1 by Jeff Lemire. He's written stuff like The Nobody, which was a great graphic novel. He did Sweet Tooth. He did Animal Man for the New 52. He's also writing a book called Descender right now for Image that's very good. And it's the art is by Emmy Lennox, and this is the first book she's done.
Oh, cool.
So this is her first go at it, and I love the art. It has an almost Scott Pilgrim sort of feel for me.
Yeah, it was very charming.
Yeah, the art. I really enjoyed the book in general. I've liked Jeff Lemire's writing and everything that I've read of his, and the art, like you said, is very charming. It's quaint, very Scott Pilgrim-ish, so it works. Story-wise, it was good. It's very much a build-up issue.
Yeah, right out of the gate, you're climbing the mountain of the story.
Because you hear that there are superheroes in this world that's taking place, but you don't see them.
Correct. It's like they're almost mythical creatures in this universe.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, like, I can't remember the character's name, but the one that Cape spots. You know, he's looking for superheroes with his binoculars. I thought
Teddy.
that was Teddy. I thought that was a very classic kind of thing. Like, you may not see anything, or you could totally see a bunch of superheroes flying around the city. You're not sure.
Yeah, the first book really is there to build up and establish that the 4 main characters, it really seems like it's going to follow. They live in a world with heroes existing in the world, with one of them really being just superly obsessed with them, and the others are sort of there incidentally because of something that happens in the book.
Yeah, without giving too much away, I think that was a good descriptor. One thing, this book, to me, it was interesting because I'm reading it and I'm just like kind of in the moment and I'm reading this book, and then all of a sudden these characters are cussing and throwing fucks out, and I was like, oh, this is not the tone I actually expected based on the art that I was looking at. Because, like I said, the art's very it's very quaint and cute and charming and sincere, I think, is another good way to describe the art style. And then to have these characters like, fuck this and blah, 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 I don't give it. And I was like, oh, this story just made me even more intrigued by it. As far as I'm concerned, and I don't know about you guys, but this is a book that I'm keeping. I want to continue to read this story and find out more about Plutona and what happens in this universe.
I am too. The one thing that I really take away from the book, that the me is kind of a bitch.
Yeah, right?
And she's the girl on the cover of the book. So I would venture to say that she's going to be the main focus of the story, but God, this first issue, she is such a controlling bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, she's not very nice.
The one thing that I really liked and one thing I took away is that at the end of the book, it sort of shifted gears, and it shifted to the Plutona character. Now, not only did it shift gears, but then like, okay, now we're gonna follow this character and see what's going on. It also shifted narrative, as if like the first part where you're following the four kids, to me that came off as more artsy. It came off as letting the panels tell the story. It's not like the narrator telling you how boring school was. It just showed it. But then with the Platona character, it added in the little box of the narrative, like the narrator, in a classic comic book style of presentation.
Yeah, totally. And funny that you were going to say that real quick, and then I'm going to jump to Shuddy because you've got something. Don't forget it. But I was going to mention how I loved that set of panels where they are showing the passage of time and how boring school is. And there's nothing, and the clock is just ticking. And the rustling of the leaves across the ground because it's so boring. I just thought that was really a cool way to continue to like you said, build your story. But anyways, Shuddy, what were you going to say, man?
Well, to touch on what Brando was talking about, when the story at the end, when the story switches gears and goes to Platona, that's drawn by Jeff Lemire.
Really?
So if you look at the art there versus the art that was in Sweet Tooth and Nobody, that's his as well. So it rings of his other books, and I really liked that it kind of tied this into his other work.
That's neat.
So Brandon, what do you think? Are you going to continue to read Plutona?
Oh yeah, I liked it a lot. I sat down and I read it last night, and it was a very easy read. It just flowed. As I said, I liked how they use it's a more modern take, but they use the panels to just sort of be the narrator for you and let you tell and know. But then the shift of that later on was really neat, and it was very noticeable. It was almost like, it's following an actual superhero, so they brought in the narrator. Meanwhile at the Hall of Justice, it has that feel, and I like that a lot because it just has two different separate tones. And of course, there's this whole. I guess the one thing, and this is not giving anything away, but the one thing that I'm taking away from this is that this is going to be like a mystery.
Yeah, like we don't know the mystery, and it's going to build for several issues before we find a resolution, or maybe it could throw us off, and we might not have any idea what the resolution is for a long time. They might start telling a totally different story out of the gate,
There's a couple of ways that I think it could go, and my main theory, I don't know how to put into words without being
spoilerific.
But I think that maybe somehow me becomes the hero.
Okay, I could see that.
Without giving too much away. We can discuss it a little bit more once we're done recording, but I don't want to spoil too much.
Okay. What you're saying and your thought is the same as mine. Actually, that was the first thing I thought of when I saw the final panel of the first 3/4 of the book. I was like, oh, I think this is the way they're going to do it, and this is what we're supposed to take away from this. It's a great mystery, but at the same time, they want you to connect that dot, and hopefully other readers are connecting that dot. I really hope that our listeners and other people that we know can get on board with this book, because I don't want to see something stupid happen and it get canceled after 7 or 8 issues. I think it could be a really cool story to follow.
So I think we're all in agreement. We will ride this one out and go on to the next issue when it comes out.
Yeah, and we'll come back and talk about this with Pick of the Week. One thing I wanted to kind of let the viewers know, and I think we've discussed what our plan for the next one is, and we're just going to save that when we get there. But we're going to do new book Pick of the Week, and then we're going to do classic or not current book Pick of the Week. And kind of alternate. That way we can stay fresh. We can go back to stuff that's already been out for a while that maybe people haven't necessarily given a chance or read. There's actually a series that you mentioned just when you were talking about Plutona and Jeff Lemire writing it. I want to do Sweet Tooth because I haven't read that yet, and I've been told multiple times by multiple people that I will love the Sweet Tooth book. So
It's a very, very good book.
yeah, so at some point we'll get to that. We do have a plan for what we're going to start reading next, and we're going to go issue to issue and talk about it. But last time Shuddy was on, when we had Tim and Cody here, you discussed Archie.
Yes.
You have continued to read Archie.
I picked up issue 2 came out not that long ago, and the book just continues to amaze me.
That's so weird. I would not expect it.
There's no dude, me either. I did not expect, even though I love Mark Waid and Fiona Staples, I had no expectations for this book, and it just continues. Like, I'm eagerly awaiting issue number 3.
Wow. Is that a sign of old age?
I hope not, because it's not really campy like I assume the older Archie books are. I haven't read the old Archie series since probably I was 8 or 9, so I couldn't say one way or the other. But it's definitely a modern take, and I think it's phenomenal.
Now you've got me wanting to check it out, man. And
dude, 2 issues in, now's the time to jump on, buddy.
I agree. That's actually why I'm thinking about doing it. I mean, right now I have a lull. There are only really I have three books that I'm reading currently. The Walking Dead, Plutona, and Batman. That's it. So might as well add Archie and make it a 4th. No love to Marvel right now. I'm boycotting Marvel temporarily.
There's only a few things I'm still getting from Marvel. Like I said, 1872, Renewal of Vows, Daredevil I'm staying on with.
Nice. And then maybe all those hip-hop covers.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to do all of them, but I will get a few, especially the Howard the Duck ODB cover.
It's such a good cover.
There's no way that is not going in my collection and going on the wall.
Fuck yeah.
Because both of those things are very near and dear. Mostly the Howard the Duck movie. I could care less about the comic.
Have you been reading that comic?
I got issue number 1 and was just kind of like, eh.
Just kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
It's not a very strong selling point to me, my friend.
It didn't draw me in enough to get a second issue.
Okay. That's fair enough. I mean, if the
and,
first...
I mean, a lot of it, I'm sure, has to do with I don't know any of the comic backstory of the character.
Gotcha. So
literally, all I know about Howard the Duck,
86 George Lucas,
is based on that film.
Yep.
With Leah Thompson.
God, she's hot.
God, in that movie especially.
Even to this day, though, I mean, she's older, but...
But yeah, I mean, so I don't have a lot emotionally invested in the character itself, except for the movie.
All right.
So don't take my diminished review of it as you would with something like a Batman or something where I really follow the character.
Speaking of which, I feel like a dumbass. You brought up Batman, and we're talking comics for a minute here, so I wanted to bring this up. When we had Cody and Tim on, we did discuss the Mr. Bloom character, and I finally got to read 43. I'm all the way caught up. I have all the Batmans again. I'm 100% back to square. All I need to do is pick up issue 44 that comes out this week. Bloom does not stab Penguin with a sword. It's his elongated hand that becomes a very sharp, pointy thing. And I wanted to correct myself because I said he got stabbed with a sword. And then when I actually went back and read it, I was like, oh, I'm fucking stupid.
I thought I told you that it wasn't a sword.
I don't think so. I don't think we brought it up. I don't think it ever got mentioned because I was even still leading up to reading it. I was like, why does this character have a sword? It doesn't seem like him. And then when I saw the panel, I was like, oh, because that's not a fucking sword. All right, I get it. Cool. So, guys, do we have anything else?
Marvel confirmed after Secret Wars that Daredevil will be back in New York, and his identity will be secret again.
Cool.
That the Fantastic Four are going to be present in the comics, just not as the Fantastic Four. They're going to be off doing their own thing, so they're not completely killing the character, not killing the characters, but
They're
keeping
trying
them
to
out of continuity.
See, and what does that sound like to you? That sounds like, oh, hey, the Fantastic Four movie bombed, and we may end up picking this series back up. And if we want to write them back into continuity, we can keep the characters around without having them as the team, the Fantastic Four.
Yep.
Bingo. Because, Ben Grimm is joining the Guardians, I think, right?
I really don't know. I have not.
I feel like there was a big poster that came out of all the new, because there are 2 Spider-Man, and there's Lady Wolverine, which looks like X-23 just takes up the mantle of Wolverine, Old Man Logan. This is all going to be post-Secret Wars, obviously, and in the aftermath of what happens in that series, which got an additional book. They were only going to do 8 issues, and they decided to write a 9th. So that's weird, but yeah, I'm still pissed at Marvel. Whatever, doesn't matter. All right, well, before we go, let's talk about where you can find us doing things at. I know that as far as Twitter's concerned, Brandon and I don't really tweet that hard, but you can find Shuddy Boy at Shuddy Boy on Twitter.
Yep, at Shuddy Boy on Twitter and Instagram.
Which is awesome. You can find me at Draxus_rocker on Instagram. Brando, where can we find you?
I don't think I have an Instagram. I don't. I did have one, and it might still be My Ice Soul. But pretty much the only thing I would do was like bitch about hearing Don Henley songs on the radio.
Hey bro, you're talking Twitter. You said Instagram, which you do have
bad.
an Instagram.
Yeah, there you go. That's where go there. I post a lot more on Instagram.
Your Instagram is at Brandom Games. So Brando M Games.
Yeah, Twitter. Yeah. The My Soul was on Twitter. Yeah, pretty much. I would only tweet there for a little while anytime I heard a Don Henley song on the radio, and I would get mad about it. So I just
you're fucking weird.
I did there for a while. I was actually using Twitter, and I kind of realized like I heard a lot of like Eagles or just straight up Don Henley. So it was like, damn you, Don Henley, get out of my life.
Fuck him. So you can find Journey into Comics on Instagram at Journey into Comics. You can find us on Twitter and Periscope at JIC Podcast. I do a lot of periscoping there. Shuddy, you kind of got off the Periscope train, huh?
Yeah, I just didn't do it only because I wasn't on the show Periscope.
And it's hard.
Yeah, it's usually just me sitting here staring around, looking lost.
I tell you what, all the time that I've spent on Periscope, I could teach you a thing or two. Like, hearts really affect how visible you are to the general public, which starting it, I didn't know. And I'm like, why is there like 2 fucking people, one of which looks like it's not even a person because it says 1 live viewer, which I assume is a moderator maybe, but I digress. So you can find Journey into Comics on both Twitter, Periscope, JIC Podcast. Search Journey into Comics on Facebook. You'll find us. We're not in Ohio. We don't have a comic book store because there is a Journey into Comics comic book store. And is there anywhere else that they can find us that I'm forgetting? Oh, YouTube. Brando posts some YouTube stuff. I need to get back on my game and post another Pop Talk. At some point, I will discuss some more Pops on the show. Other than that, guys, Brando, welcome back once again, man.
It's good. It's great to be back. It's I don't know why you thought I was going to be gone until the end of September.
I don't know, man. I just, in my head, I think I had it as it being a lot longer than it ended up being. And I didn't math at all. And it was literally, you said, I'm going to be gone 6 weeks. And I was like, oh, okay, that's end of September. Okay, whatever. And then you're like, oh, 1st of September, I'm back. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? That seems really soon. And then I counted all the episodes and I was like, 6 weeks. Exactly. Fuck, he's good.
Yeah, I was gonna try to keep it 3 to 6, and then once we went a few weeks and we had some problems with Wyatt going back in the hospital, I'm like, I'm gonna try and make it to where it's pretty much a fresh start right at the beginning of September. So.
Well, fuck yeah, man. Me and Shuddy are happy to have you back. Not that we didn't have fun while you were gone, but I digress. You know what we didn't do this week, and maybe this is too little too late? We didn't do a final question of the week, but I don't feel it's necessary.
I have one.
Oh, Brando's got one. Okay, well, lay it on us. We'll close with this, and then we'll call it a night.
Yep. All right, so this was difficult to think of a question worthy enough, because you know what? Listening to all the other episodes, I actually had answers for some of them, most notably the powers one. I know what powers I would give people. I would give them incredible aim, but only with pickles.
What? That's awesome.
Like, so that way you could throw pickles at a glass window and they would like race down it, but your aim would be so on that you would win every time.
That's amazing.
And I would use it for chaotic evil.
Of course you would.
Because why wouldn't pickle throwing be just horrible? All right, so my question to you guys, and this is going deep, so for, since this is my first episode back, we're going to go a little deep with this one. So I do apologize if you guys can't think of a suitable answer, but if you could go back and relive any part of your life, relive but not change anything, what would that be and why?
Oh, man. What a fucking intense question, Brando. I guess I'll start. That'll give Shuddy some time to really, really think about it, because I'm better when I shoot from the cuff. Honestly, I would go back to, me at like 6 years old, when it was all fun and there was no worries and I got cool toys all the time. And if we're able to go back and relive these moments and keep our current consciousness in our younger self, almost akin to when Wolverine goes back in Days of Fuchsia Past. And yes, I said Days of Fuchsia. If that's the case, then I'm definitely going to around that time so I can appreciate and enjoy all the toys and stuff that I had when I was a kid. Because, man, I beat the shit out of the stuff. I didn't fucking care. I didn't know. And a lot of those things, man, I would really like to go back and revisit. There's a great nostalgia that comes over me anytime I see any of the old Ninja Turtle toys or action figures or whatever the fuck you want to call them. Or anytime I see the Power Ranger figures, there is a nostalgia that comes over me that's like, man, if I had $80 to buy a brand new Bebop or Rocksteady on the fucking card unopened, I would, but I can't. So I don't. So to me, like I said, there's an innocence when you're that age that I miss, I mean, not to get too into my backstory, but at 8 years old, both my parents getting divorced and my sister getting hit by a car in front of me really shaped who I am now and fucked my psyche up, quite honestly. And I think that's why I turned to music. So to be able to go and live in a simpler time before all those things happened to me, I think would be really something I would cherish, and just go, okay, this is the fucking moment I want to be in. This is when everything was whole, when my family was whole, when, there was no darkness that I could even detect in my life, because I wasn't at that moment in my life where I would even know that there was a darkness happening. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that answered your final question of the week. I do like that you went a little bit more personal, honestly. Now, hopefully, I've given our other host a little bit more time to think and put an answer together. So now, not throwing you under the bus, giving you plenty of time, Shuddy, what do you think, man?
I agree, if not only from the standpoint to go back to childhood and make sure that little shit me didn't constantly destroy his toys. So then I would have things like a Voltron, or my Thundercats right now, or my Castle Grayskull. All the stuff that I beat the shit out of because I played with it like it was meant to be played with, but just didn't survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, my answer is probably around the same age, maybe a little younger. just recently, before Metal Gear came out, I made myself a goal, and that goal is to play through all of the original Legend of Zelda games from beginning to end, in order of release.
All of them.
I'm stopping at the Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons. Basically, what?
But you're starting with Legend of Zelda and then going to
Zelda 2.
Yeah, Adventure of Link, and then Link to the Past, and then I'm going Link's Awakening, Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons. I'm doing all the older school ones, and then eventually I want to do the more 3D ones like the N64 and GameCube, stuff like that. But so I was doing that, and I played through, because I never played and beat the original Legend of Zelda or Zelda 2. So I played and beat Legend of Zelda. I've already failed my task because I suck at Zelda 2.
Sarah is a pro at Zelda 2.
Zelda 2, number one, I'm having trouble getting my cartridge to work.
Ugh.
So that right there, all the time I spent messing with it, and then when I finally got it to work, the one time I did, I sucked at it. So honestly, I skipped to Link to the Past. Now, I'm not tangenting in that too much, but when I was playing that game is so nostalgic to me. Me and Nate did a top 5 video, which will be coming out soon because I will be editing it soon. And Link to the Past on Super Nintendo is one of my top 5 games of all time. I just absolutely love that game. And I remember the first time I played it. And I would want to go back to that simpler time of experiencing that for the first time blind. Because that game still amazes me to this day. To this day, I still get and I even know what to do. There's no question. I just go here. It's almost, I don't have to think about it. But to be able to be awed by it and have to have this sense of exploration again within that game. I just remember my mom used to babysit some kids, and they came over and they brought Legend of Zelda, and we put that in because we used to play just Street Fighter or Mario, and they finally got a new game. We put it in, and it just awed me from the get-go, and I would just want to go back to that time, however old I was, and just re-experience that.
So I think we're all in agreement that childhood was fucking awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
And then life happens and everything goes to shit. But guys, it was a fucking great episode, I think. I'm happy that we're all here, the three amigos. I don't know what the fuck we're going to name this episode. Whatever. It'll come to me at some point. I'll think about it. Or Brandon will give me an answer, or Shuddy will come up with one after we're off air, and it'll be great. And then that's how the name happened, folks. So don't look for any hidden meanings. Other than that, okay, we're running this down. We're going to do it just like the intro. I'll say who I am, then Brando, then Shuddy, okay? I'm just prepping us so nobody talks over each other. We're going to get it right on the first try. All right, folks. So as always, this was Journey into Comics, and I'm your host, Nate Phillips.
I'm Brando.
And I'm Shuddy Boy.
Thanks for listening, guys. Later.
Later.